ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Overanalysts podcast, Season 2, tackling a variety of serious and silly topics pertaining to gaming as both an industry and a culture, and kind of broadening our horizons this season to present you discussions of broader topics as well. Just things related to
Us.
streaming, entertainment, technology, anything that can be tied into a broader discussion of gaming and the way it impacts us as consumers. It's my pleasure to have you here with us today for the second installment of our Oversharing series, where we will be interviewing members of our community and council to give you a little bit of insight into how we, as a community, we as a population in our own little ecosystem on Twitch and other platforms consume media and the impact that has on us, because again, we think that's such an integral part of our lives, especially today, right, when so many of us have had to rely on media consumption for sustenance, like mental sustenance, for 2+ years. So we want to show you how that looks in practice, instead of just talking about, well, from my perspective, people ought to care about, or they ought to want to play, or they want to partake in this, that, or the third thing.
Yeah.
My name is Brady, or the Overanalyst on Twitch and associated platforms. That's Brady Duncan, your Overanalyst, joined as always by my dear friends and fellow Twitch streamers, Martina Turlovich, or Seth the Overwitch,
Hello.
and Mate Kuchan, or Comrade Potato.
Hey.
And today we're going to be interviewing Mate regarding his journey through both gaming and tech, because like Tina, he kind of has this overlap in with a deep personal experience with technology, as both a form of entertainment and as a profession. So kind of this vocational and then recreational dyad we want to dissect there. But that said, I'm really excited for this one because you tend to have some of the most trenchant commentary on the entire council, especially when it comes to issues you care deeply about. So first of all, thank you, Mate, for taking the time to sit in our hot seat today.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no! Somebody help me! I need a drink.
No, you're gonna do
I'm not
great.
an alcoholic. I just need a drink.
So really quickly, as we did with Tina, I want to give you the floor to just take as much time as you'd like and as much in as much depth as you would like to introduce yourself and maybe your presence on these platforms, kind of where you're coming from today. So please tell us about yourself.
I'm a sentient potato. I was digged up from the. Wait, no, never mind. That no shit. No, like I don't know. Like I'm a antisocial piece of shit. I like my games. I mean, hang out with people's fine. Just in small amounts. I don't know. Like I'm a software developer. Avid gamer. I like good RPGs. I like anything that has a nice social interaction, even though I'm antisocial and an introvert. uh, just not like a group of 50 people, but a nice little small group. That's
like
fine.
Small group opt-in
Yeah.
socialization.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that.
People I like. People I tolerate.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm bad at introductions.
No,
Introducing
that's
myself.
perfectly good. Thank you. Give me just a minute to write a couple of things down here.
Oh God, he's writing things down.
He's writing notes about you, like a journalist.
It's like when you're a psychiatrist and he keeps writing stuff down and you just want to know what they're writing down. You're like,
Yeah. Like
If any of us needs a psychiatrist, it's me. So no worries. I'm just writing down prominent themes from the insights you share, in case I want to double back on them. Okay, so I think it's interesting that you mentioned being kind of introverted and preferring to engage with people through like these opt-in kind of limited platforms. We'll cycle back around. But first, to get a little bit more information, just as we did in last week's episode, I'm curious if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit more about your journey or your life's experience with video games and maybe tech for entertainment. What does that timeline look like? How did you get introduced to the hobby, and how did your engagement with it kind of develop over time?
Okay, so let's see. When did it start? Like, I think I got like a Game Boy Color at like the age of 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
had, oh god, I think it was like the Donkey Kong game where you just like climb up, and I'm not even sure if that was on the Game Boy Color. I seem to remember something like that. No, fuck, I'm lying. That was not a Game Boy Color. That was just monochrome. Uh, I was not a big fan of that. Like, I was still a little kid that just wants to go outside and play. So I remember my mom going like, "Well, if you're not gonna play it, I'm just gonna give it to someone," and we
Oh
actually
no.
did. No, I'm fine. I wasn't really a gamer back then, but I
Was it
think at
like
the
Donkey Kong Jr., the game you were playing, one of those?
it. I honestly don't remember. It's a fucking miracle. I remember even the fact that that happened. But I think at the age of 5, we got like our first computer, and that was like Windows 95. And I don't remember who was setting it up for us, but I know he installed, like, at that time it was a bunch of games. You know, it was like Battletoads, um, Prince of Persia,
Mm-hmm.
Jazz Jackrabbit.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I began with. Now
Okay.
that was just like, whoa. Also, like on the computer, my mom was going on like uh, Microsoft Office course in like the
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
local culture center. So as I was a small child, I was going with her because it was like in the evening. There was no one who could
Right.
take care of me during that time, and I sort of like started typing on the computer, being able to like type my name, simple words at like the age of 5, which,
Wow.
yeah, that's, you know, I had lots of potential. Didn't really live up to it. But no, like I was going like, hey, mom, I want there's this game, because we she used to buy me a lot of those like tech magazines, gaming magazines, and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which would come
Yeah.
with like a CD with a
Demo
bunch of
disc.
demos. Yeah, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you install this for me? She's like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll try it myself. And, just clicking stuff. And I install it, I'm playing. And she's like, oh, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I was clicking stuff. Leave me alone. And I think about the same time, we also got like a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And I remember just like the most played game I had was Super Mario Brothers, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because, what better for a kid than just addictively playing the same game over and over again? And Duck Hunt, of course.
Fuck
Okay.
that
Duck
game.
Duck Hunt was the shit. I fucking hate that dog.
You got that
Uh,
2-in-1 cartridge, like Mario
no,
Bros.
no, it was. I don't
Oh no,
think
because
it
it
was
was
2 in 1.
SNES.
Yeah. Uh, and I remember being so gutted when that broke, when the Super Nintendo broke. Oh man.
Did you wear it out or?
I think it probably broke from being played too much. Like, it, nothing like happened to it that would just break
Hmm.
it. It was just like it stopped working one day. I'm actually sad that like we threw it away, because like 10 years after that, I would have loved to just open it and try to maybe make it work. Um, but then I got into the PlayStation,
Okay.
which was like, I think I told you that my first game was the Smurfs. The Smurfs and Worms Armageddon. And I played the shit out of both of them. And then like Driver. Oh man, I love that
Hmm.
game.
Oh my god,
Even
my brother
though
loved it.
it took me like 3 months to get out of the tutorial mission.
Yes.
Because I wasn't like, I did not understand English that well.
Mm-hmm.
And that first like video, honestly, I'll be honest, I probably didn't even watch it. I think I skipped it, and then I uh, just was like, "What's going on? There's a list of stuff I need to do. What are those things?"
Right.
But yeah, the PlayStation, the PS2, uh, and then just mostly computer games. I got into like MMOs, specifically WoW. And
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, as much as people are like, "Oh, that's addictive," people spend too much time in it. Honestly, it helped me a lot, because I was like really like socially anxious before I started playing it, and I was like,
I know the
you
feeling.
know, you can try, you get into a guild, you get into a community, you start talking to people, and then you like open up a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, that helped me a lot. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Gonna
Wow.
be honest.
Thank you, World of Warcraft, is something I never thought I would say, but thank you, World of Warcraft. Wow, so that was a phenomenal answer because you've actually given me a lot to work off of.
Oh god
So
damn
thank you.
Oh no.
it.
There's a couple really interesting distinctions we can make between your story, like your development with and alongside gaming, and then Tina's. The first one that I noticed right off the bat is it sounds like, relatively speaking, your family was far more supportive of your engagement with tech broadly, but also gaming specifically, right? Like they were happy to buy a lot of these things.
Well, yes and no. I did have to take a lot of, oh, you're on the computer too much, you're playing too many
Mm-hmm.
games. I'm leave me alone.
But it wasn't like there's a cultural distinction here. It wasn't that you were playing the games at all that was seen as a problem,
No,
or
no, no,
like
no.
you shouldn't be doing that, or that's not productive, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your family was did they enjoy these things, or at the very least, it sounds like technology themselves?
No, God, no. My
Okay.
family is tech illiterate, like mostly.
And so things like the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo, those were just gifts for you then?
Yeah.
Wow. How wonderful. Um, and it sounds like that kind of support or being able to engage with that from an early age in a relatively non-judgmental atmosphere made gaming even more of a comfort, right? Like this is just something fun we can do, and you can learn little bits and bobs about technology along the way as you have to figure it out yourself.
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't really that much into technology back then. Like,
Mhm.
I think the first time is like when I. So my high school was a vocational one.
Right.
Were specifically pretty much electrical engineering. So we had a lot of like actual like stuff, and I was at first I was like, I'm not sure if I'll like this, and then it turned out I was really good at it somehow, uh, and then I ended up enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, after like when I was nearing the end of high school, you had to decide which university you go to.
Yeah.
So I picked the same one as Seth did,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like electrical engineering and computing, and that thing kind of just the math just destroyed me. Like I had a
I
great
remember.
math teacher in high school, and math was just freaking easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
In college, no.
Yeah, math in college taught us all a new one.
Yeah, yeah. And
Now,
like my biggest problem was I never uh, learned how to learn. Like my high school experience was, um, I did almost no homework. I did almost no studying, and I just go by what I remembered from class.
right. Your memory was sufficient to get you through effortlessly.
Yes. Also, my class was a bunch of animals. So by comparison, I was an angel and a genius. I'm like not even over exaggerating this. Uh,
So the teacher was like, "Come on, kids, why can't you be more like Mate? He was able to beat Dark Souls 2 in like a weekend. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Not exactly, but like the thing is, I wish high school was the part where I was struggling to learn.
Sure.
But on the other hand, I had a lot of time to play games. Uh, I actually had like I guess a stipend in like year 3 and 4, where I'd get a for a high school student a decent amount of money every month.
Wow.
So I didn't have to like ask my parents for any money.
That's incredible.
Yes, I was like, it's my money. I do with it what I want. I'm gonna
And
spend
you
it
were buying
on
games.
uh, pretty much going out for coffee almost every day, and yeah, sure, buying games. I was not pirating games. No, officer, I was not. Uh,
No, as we all know, every single video game import retailer in Croatia at the time was completely legitimate and operating
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
above board.
But no, actually, with the first chunk of money I got, I bought myself an electric guitar.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because it's like the money counts like it counts to you receiving it from September till the
Mhm.
next of September, but like you have to apply for it, and there's a long process, and they only announce who won it in like December, and right around Christmas you'd get the chunk of money from September to December.
Nice.
Yes. So I was like, that guitar, that Black Les
Cha-ching.
Paul, I want it. Here's the cash. Thank you very much. Give. Uh,
Les Paul, good choice.
honestly, I wish I'd taken something lighter because that thing is heavy.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason why it was called the log.
And you still own it?
Yeah, yeah. You can see it on like the background of a few of my streams.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'm not getting rid of that thing, even though I haven't played in years. I'm not getting rid of that thing probably ever.
It's a good souvenir, and it looks nice.
Yeah,
Absolutely. A beautiful and functional memento of the past.
yeah.
I love those.
So like, oh yeah, and so I had really good grades,
Mhm.
like pretty much I guess equivalents of A's for the most part. Uh, and my mom would be like, "Oh, you're playing video games too much." I'm like, "It's not affecting my schoolwork. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, what does it matter?" Uh, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna turn. You're not loud on the computer." I'm like, and she took my Oh god, she'd often like take the power cable for the computer.
Oh no.
And yes, that was me. Like, oh no, how am I gonna play now? Opens closet, takes out another one of the 10 cables I have in the closet.
Nice.
Just before she gets home from work, I just like unplug it, put it back in the closet.
So nothing could stop you. Really.
Nothing can stop me. No
So
force on earth is powerful enough to stop me.
speaking of, the other major thread of like difference I noted in like your early history versus Tina's is there wasn't this significant disruption like in your adolescence where you weren't playing games very much or you were just playing a little bit. Gaming as a hobby was, it sounds like, a very persistent and major like facet of your life, like it was for mine, straight
A
through.
pretty big escape, yeah.
I can definitely agree. Real quick side question, but just before I lose it entirely, we mentioned math. We mentioned your experience with math, cause it threw me so much to hear Tina absolutely loved it. Did you enjoy math at like the fundamental
In high school, yeah.
level? Okay,
It was like not, too difficult. It wasn't like frustrating. And I still have that feeling, when you solve something, whether it's math or in programming, that was, giving you a bit of trouble,
yeah,
and when you're finally done with it, you're like, oh yeah, that's that good feeling, that's that good shit.
those endorphins.
Yeah, which is kind of, I guess, why I like Souls. Like,
There
You
you
know what?
go.
It's kind of funny, but like one of my like most vivid memories that I had from college with you was when we were sitting in math class and it was Skyrim release day, and we were sitting there like on your with your laptop in class watching the intro to Skyrim. And then the teacher came to us and he was like, "What are you doing?" And we were like, watching the intro to Skyrim." And he was like, "Huh, show me."
yeah.
For a
Good
second there,
teacher.
I was about to say, what was that about not having a great teacher and that being why we had trouble? But oh yeah, the teacher like stopped out just to watch the Skyrim intro too. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was not a good math teacher.
yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool guy, not a good math teacher.
Yeah.
Um. So one thing I wanted to ask then is if you were playing games and you were like really investing in the hobby like straight through high school and into the early years at university, um, to what extent then did gaming kind of define or become integrated into the friend groups or the social networks you did engage with during that time? Like, did it become you mentioned like playing online, but like locally, like with friends and all that? Did it become an aspect of like what you guys did or talked about or all of that more so over time?
Okay, so I have a couple of friends which are like people I know since the very first year of elementary school, which I'm still friends with to this day. And
Wonderful.
we would often have like we take our computers, we go to one of the friends, we have a LAN party,
Yes.
and that was the shit. Like staying up on the weekend until like 5 or 6 a.m., if not even longer, just making yourself like toasted sandwiches and drinking energy drinks.
Toasted sandwiches.
Yeah, just the junkiest food you can get. Like will literally go to the store and buy the cheapest. Like you put cheese and ham in them. You put them in the toaster. And you're just like
Yeah.
that ham. That's the cheapest one. Give us that. You just
The ugliest
yeah, that thing
dark
that's
red
even on
ham.
discount. Yeah, the thing that people buy to feed their dogs. Give us that. No, but like that was also really fun. Like you go with your friends, you play games,
Sure.
just in the same room. And we'd also
And
play like online games together in the same room.
what would you play?
Well, I think the one we played really the most was Dota.
Okay.
Oh
The
god.
original.
Yeah, and Dota 2 as well for the beginning of it.
Um,
Excuse me.
lots of did you play any of the like really popular online shooters at the time or?
We played a bit of Counter Strike, but not like too much. We were more like the MOBA kind of people.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Is this kind of then what started this love-hate relationship you seem to have with MOBAs and other like online competitive games to this day? Like these LAN parties? Is that where it started or
I guess you could say that. I mean, I think most when I played like online team-based games was in college, but not when I was going with Seth, like the one later.
okay.
I had a friend group, and we would just play the crap out of CS:GO and games like that, and that was fun. Like honestly, I don't like really playing with randoms. It's nice when you're in like a full team of your real life friends, people where you can just mess around. And if you're not going for anything super competitive, no one's getting angry. You're just having
Right.
fun. That's the best thing. Like I've played World of Warcraft like semi-competitively, doing uh,
Raids.
raid progression. Yeah, I mean back then it was nice when you're like number 5 in the entire realm, the number 5 guild, on progression.
Right.
And at a certain point, it sort of becomes your job
Yep.
and it stops being fun.
Mm.
And that's sort of what happened to me. I honestly just lost the will to do anything competitive because, if you're losing, you're getting annoyed.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't like getting annoyed.
Oh no
And
shit.
was it also then, I assume, in that kind of competitive environment, which, as we've mentioned in previous episodes of the podcast, can unfortunately lend itself to toxicity far too easily?
Oh,
Is it also
absolutely.
possible then that when you're losing, obviously you feel frustrated, you feel like crap, all this, but when you're winning, you're also on edge because you are trying so desperately not to lose and feel like crap?
Not really. It's just that at a certain point, like with Souls games right now, I
Mhm.
have this thing where I'm getting super. I mean, I get super frustrated. I start swearing. I start cursing out
Right
the
there with you.
whoever designed the fucking boss fight. Then you beat it, and then it's like this feeling of euphoria. Philia,
Like
goddamn potato.
philia of euphoria.
Feeling of euphoria where like just it was worth it.
Yeah.
But when I'm playing like competitive games like that, it just makes me like the positive like emotions you feel when you're winning do not outweigh the negative ones when you're
Mm,
losing, or when you have a teammate that is purposely doing something to just annoy his teammates, doesn't want to win.
Yeah.
right, of course. It's, as you said, it's just not worth it. Okay,
Yeah,
I can agree.
like
Um,
the most fun I've had playing Overwatch on my own was the 25 levels before I got to unlock competitive mode. like playing with Seth and a bunch of people from the community, when it's just a couple of us, we're on voice, and we're you know win or lose doesn't really matter.
Mm.
That's fine. But when you just go into competitive on your own, and there's people who are just like, "Oh, you fucking idiots! We're losing because of you. I did nothing wrong. You're idiots." Yeah, not fun.
As you
Mm.
said, it's more fun when our games are games rather than jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When you don't take
Um,
things too seriously.
Please see the cold, dead eyes of your favorite Minecraft YouTuber for an excellent illustration of this.
Oh yeah, I feel for those people. Like honestly, imagine if for the last like 10 years you have to make Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
Oh
Otherwise, you
god!
don't make any money, but you quit your job already.
Imagine if you were one of like the first wave of Call of Duty YouTubers.
Ay.
Yeah,
Man, you have to feel like Sisyphus at this point.
yeah.
Like
Oh, it's
we
the
keep
same game with better graphics.
we keep pushing this prestige ranking up the hill, and it keeps rolling back down at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Poor guys.
I don't know why that image amuses me so much, but just thinking of someone who started making that content, when they're maybe younger than us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe 20, maybe 18, 20. And now they're like 34 and paying a mortgage on the back of a game they hate.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sad, but
But
I'm
funny.
tired, so it's amusing. Okay, sorry. Back on topic. Um, so we've kind of been talking about because there's more to discuss early in life here, I think, in this story about like how gaming grew with you and impacted your life, Mate. But I'm curious. We've talked around it. Maybe tell us a little bit more about, as much as you would like, that is, about your professional development and how you went from like just a program in electrical engineering onto like a degree in computer science and where that's led you today,
Well,
and
I mean,
also maybe then how your experience with hardware and software, if at all, has enriched your knowledge or appreciation of games or tech more broadly.
I always like tinkering with stuff. Like when I was a kid, like if something broke, I'd always wanna,
Open
it's
it.
broken. I want to open it. I want to see, what's inside. I don't want to. I didn't want to ever, really open it when it's working because it's working. I don't want to break it. But once it's broken, like I want to see. I rarely ever fixed anything,
Hmm.
but it was interesting to actually see stuff from the inside.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I that other college that I went to, it was my second choice when I was enrolling in the first one.
Okay.
So felt pretty natural to go there later when I decided to try again. Uh, and that was more programming, and we had a bit of programming like a first year in that first college, and I really enjoyed that because it was like you'd get problems which you'd solve, and I enjoyed that. That was nice. Felt nice when you actually completed. Yeah, and that's basically what happened. And I was like, okay, I think the next one, I think year two is where you choose if you want to go like more system administration, like hardware wise and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
setting up networks, or if you want to go software development. And I was like, yeah, software development for sure.
Gotcha.
We even had a class where it was game development,
Oh.
Oh.
and that was actually fun. Like a young professor who actually was like in the sort of in like the IT business, not somebody who's been teaching for the last 40 years and doesn't know anything new.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I actually enjoyed that. And at one point, I was really wanting to get into like the game development industry.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, am I glad I didn't.
Sad but
That's
true.
Were you either individually or as part of a team required to create any kind of like interactive project for this game design
Yes,
course?
yes, we did.
And what did you make, if I may
Oh
know?
God, I don't know if I want to talk about it. Let's just say it was a multiplayer game, uh, where you could play online. We were using the Unity like free servers, so like maybe you could get like 18 people at
Right.
once, but four at most into one game.
Okay.
It was like a little fun, let's say an asteroids clone.
Oh, all right. Like a multiplayer arcade like top-down shooter kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was so janky. We had so many bugs. I mean, I did the most of coding for it. A friend of mine did a little bit of like designing the models for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Uh, so I basically just said, "Fine, I'll do the coding. I'll make the game for you guys, and y'all are gonna do the presentation. I'm gonna sit and watch."
That's what I did as well.
And
Understood.
we actually had to make like a little trailer for the game.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't you didn't really get to show off, like turn up the game on the like during the presentation and show people how to play it.
Mhm.
Basically you just did your presentation and showed them the trailer.
Yeah.
Our trailer was like 50% footage from sci-fi TV shows and video games, with the caption in the bottom, not actual in-game footage.
As
That's
like
brilliant.
stormtroopers and Cylons rush
Oh
by.
yeah, Nazis on the moon.
Wow.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you should be proud.
Yeah, but no. This is where the part I really didn't want to talk about is going. So I was like, these assholes, these two friends of mine, well, they're not gonna do any work outside of the presentation, right? So why not why not make the presentation interesting? So what's more interesting than shooting down asteroids? Shooting down Nazis, shooting down
Oh
Nazis
god.
in swastika shaped ships.
Uh-oh.
And when you hit it, it breaks into four little L letters, like
What?
into its initial pieces. Yeah. And the thing is, like, everyone who played the game really enjoyed it because the bugs were actually funny. Like, I tried adding power ups, extra life, um, a shield, and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And for the life of me, I couldn't get the power ups to work properly. It was either they pass through you or they hit you and they incur physics on you and make your ship spin out.
Huh.
I kept it in the game. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Uh, and our teacher said, like, she loves the game. It's great, but she can't put it on the college like repository uh, where like new students can see older students' work. Like, oh, you don't say. We still got a lot of like we still got like most of the points from that project.
That's incredible, though. Like to think that, especially with you working on the bulk of the game itself, like that's really really impressive.
I mean, I found like the library for doing the hardest part, which was interacting with the Unity servers, so to make it like online.
But like just a multiplayer like arcadey asteroids thing. I mean, I'm sure they exist like commercially, but that's just a fun concept. Simple but fun. You could sink an hour or two into that at one of those LAN parties you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine, like one of the people in the group with me, he brought it to work, and they spent like 3 hours playing it at work.
Man.
And I mean,
Good
even
for
we
you.
were playing it at a certain point, like for a while.
And so I have to ask then, what to what extent did that, along with your broader knowledge of just like software development, like deepen your understanding of or appreciation for like game development as it stands today?
That did not at all. Like, I did not know anything about game. I was like, okay, this is fun, but this is not. We actually had a couple of actual game developers come and do a small little one of the classes for us,
Nice.
where they would like explain stuff, and they told us like, if you want to start your own studio in Croatia, don't open it somewhere outside because you're gonna end up paying double taxes and crap like that. Or like, don't even open your studio if you're a small company. Just release like because it's too much work,
Right.
too much non-useful work. But they were telling us their experiences. Like one of them started off as a I think he said like a 3D designer, and then ended up doing level design, moving up companies.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't know. I never like managed to. I kind of wanted to like the dream was I was a really big Warcraft, World of Warcraft fan,
Hmm.
stuff like that, Diablo, and I was like the fucking best thing ever would be to work for Blizzard, like make what work on one of those games.
Oh God, me
Yeah, I
neither.
know,
Right.
I know. Good thing, good thing I didn't pursue that. Right?
Mm.
Woo! Dodged the bullet right there.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Um,
laziness.
However, it did lead to us missing out on the potential potato Overwatch, which we would have all.
Mm.
Potato Overwatch.
Yes, Overwatch, but all of the characters now have root vegetable skins. It'd be amazing.
Nice.
Mercy
Um,
carrot skin.
so then I assume you view your professional like development and growth and like your field specifically and like your interest specifically in gaming as a little more disparate, a little more separate than Tina does hers.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Um, so circling back around then, I suppose, to gaming, you mentioned something that, oh, I'm really going to sink into with the next few questions, but you
Oh God.
mentioned early on during your self intro that you really enjoy RPGs. Now, is that of all sorts? Does that include tactical and turn based RPGs, or more specifically like action RPGs?
More action. I'm not a patient person.
Okay.
Turn based kind of annoys me,
Hmm.
and I'm not a very good like strategist, tactician.
Hmm.
Tactical is not my forte. I do not perform well, uh, which is also why I don't like RTS games because I'm
They can be
terrible at
really
them.
stressful.
Oh no, like my like playthrough of that is I can't win.
Hmm.
I'm gonna make the other person's life miserable until they can
Yes.
beat me. So I just turtle down and make them like take a freaking week to kill me.
You like defensive Zerg rush them.
I'm like, oh, I love that term. Yeah, defensive Zerg rush,
Wow.
reverse Zerg.
Like, we're
Yeah,
going to just spit trash at you from 10 feet away so you can't strike us.
like you're gonna win, but you're not gonna have fun.
You're gonna win, but it'll feel like you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You'll win, but at what cost?
See also graduate school. Um, I want to ask then, what. So you prefer action RPGs, but I assume just given the types of products that were on the market when we would have been growing up, was your first experience with an RPG with a different type? Can you remember what that first experience was?
Oh God, first RPG.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't remember. I played a lot of. I know I played a lot of games on the, like the PlayStation, the stuff like that. But I don't even know. I mean, I gotta say, like the most memorable game, like from that era, uh, was definitely Crash Bandicoot.
Yes,
I
yes,
know
you're
that
a
that was
big
the
fan of
shit.
Crash, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, like in my like friend group at the time, who were like playing games, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I think we all just like loved Crash. Oh,
And
PlayStation 2 era, God of War.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that
yeah.
was the
That was.
shit.
I played God of War 1 for the very first time. I want to say like maybe 4 years ago. Oh, incredible! Can't believe I waited so long. Um, but so going back to Crash, then did you have much of an interest? I mean, you mentioned I think Jazz Jackrabbit on the PC earlier, but
Yeah.
did you have much of an interest in platformers up to that point in your life, or do you now?
Yeah, I did. A lot of like the good games back then were platformers.
Correct.
Oh, what was that game I also played? Was it Super Frog?
Super Frog sounds
I
familiar.
think. Wait, let me Google it real quick. What was that
There
thing?
was also that terrible Frogger action game, like
Oh
action
God.
adventure game on the PS2.
Oh no, definitely Super Frog. Yeah, yeah. That was also one of like the DOS games I played. I
So there
enjoyed
was.
that. That was fun. Like I remember Chance Jackrabbit specifically. That was the game I think back then I spent the most time on because I tried playing Prince of Persia
Hmm.
and I don't think I ever got like past the second level maybe.
Okay.
I was really good at getting to that point where you get the sword,
Hmm.
and past that it was just a freaking lottery how far I'll get. So I'd get frustrated with that really quickly. Ooh, one game that I used to play then, it's a Croatian game. It's called Sraz.
Oh,
That's probably heard
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Uh, it, it's like oh god, how do you explain it? It was sort of like you have a board which
Hmm.
everybody starts with like five, I guess, sort of like chess pieces, like pawns,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and you move them by answering trivia questions.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was the first like published computer game like from Croatia,
Could
even.
be.
So it was like a trivia game with a limited strategic element to it.
Yeah, because you would you answer questions, but you also I think had to like eat their like pieces,
Oh, that's cool.
or battle them or something. Yeah, and it was a fun little like learning experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fascinating. It honestly sounds like something that would be great for the basis of a community game night for us,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
or something similar. Like just the concept is what I love. Okay, there's like a simple like board game element here, but we're going to tie in trivia.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like
Love it, love
Trivial
it, love it.
Pursuit, right?
It's
kind of, yeah.
kind of similar. I want to say the gameplay, so to speak, in Trivial Pursuit's a little simpler though.
Mm.
I could be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Um, so my next question for you then, Mate, is another open-ended one. Just hit us. What are some of your favorite, just all-around favorite genres, titles, developers or publishers, anything from the gaming industry, consoles? Hit us. What are your favorites?
Okay, so I mean, like, yeah, Crash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those games just, oh man, we used to play so much of that, and then like, the spin-offs like Crash Team Racing, um,
Crash Bash.
Crash Bash, yeah, the fucking party game that was so good.
Mm.
All the other ones later just crap. Don't care about it. But the trilogy, Crash Bash and Crash Team Racing,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. I mean, lately Souls likes. I was really uh kind of, I don't know, worried about starting a Souls like. It was like, oh, Dark Souls, yeah, super hard game. Oh yeah, man, it's like terribly hard, makes people quit. So I wasn't really, you know, keen on starting it up. But once I did, oh boy, I got hooked. Uh, Other than that, I don't know, like the Witcher series
Okay.
for sure. Uh, MMO wise, I played. I didn't play that many of them. Like mostly like RuneScape, World of Warcraft. I played some of those supposed WoW killers,
Oh yeah.
WildStar, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Oh god,
Rest in peace.
yeah. But it was always kind of like just wow. I mean, that's definitely still one of my favorite games, but the old WoW, not this thing.
Classic.
It, Wrath of the Lich King, to be honest, that was that and like Mists of Pandaria, most fun I've ever had.
Okay. Okay.
But again, it did have good content, but at that time I've had the best like community I was playing with. And honestly, like in an MMO, that's kind of what makes it.
Yeah.
It's the community. And lately the community has been like just getting more and more toxic, and that just
Um,
ruins the whole experience.
that actually leads me to a question I wasn't planning on posing, didn't even have formulated, but because it's been something we've mentioned kind of frequently, both on and off stream and on and off the podcast. Do you feel like that's something that's particular to certain properties, or does it feel like online gaming communities as a whole are kind of trending towards a more toxic tone? Right?
As a whole, but certain like communities are just like exponentially worse than others.
Yeah.
So it's more noticeable. But like if you look at it big picture, it's pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Like find me one gaming community that's absolutely wholesome.
Kirby.
Uh I'm willing to bet there's toxic pieces of shit even in that community.
Yeah,
So
probably.
Let me see. I've got to be able to think of one.
I mean,
Um,
apart from the Souls community, Brady, that doesn't count. That's
no, we are in fact the world's elite of kindness and compassion,
We are leading the world.
driving the engine of human love and dignity.
Pretty much, yes.
Oh man, I'm going to have to open an episode of the podcast with just a cold reading of that Reddit post someday.
But you know what's also like the thing? Um, so the most toxic people in every community are the loudest ones.
Of
Of
course.
course.
There's always like a wholesome part of the like a nice part of the community, but you're gonna struggle to find those because those people tend to keep to themselves because they don't want the toxic ones to find out they exist uh, and swarm over there.
They also don't get like a lot of exterior attention, right?
Yeah, no one's gonna go like, oh yeah, there's this group of people that like to help each other and be nice to each other. Yeah, no, but there's gonna
That
be
All
only
horrible.
that only gets publicized, I find, in games like Eve Online, where the norm is for player interactions to be toxic and antagonistic. So it's like really something when there's like, oh, there's this cooperative of higher level players who help newbies get started out mining and buying their first chips and things like that. Like that's when it's news.
yeah, yeah, and like the fuel rats in Elite Dangerous,
Yes.
like the group of people who help the ones stranded without fuel for no like any kind of like profit or advantage or anything. They just do it because they think it's fun.
Wow.
But I mean, you know, they took an aspect of the game, like giving people like resources like fuel, and they made their own like, uh, I guess, activity in the game that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And they've been at it for a very long time, too.
Practically what since the game existed.
Yeah. So it's deviating from my planned roster of questions, but that's fine because I think your insight here is really valuable, Mate, as someone who's been watching these things for a long time. Do you think that some of the problems with toxicity in these environments then could be ameliorated if more outside attention? By that I mean the media, including gaming media, that report on happenings in these games or in these communities, try to skew, maybe not explicitly, not deliberately, but do chart the course to highlight positive player interactions or wholesome guilds or things like that more often, and maybe try to downplay or not report on the really heinous player activity as often? Do you think that would have a positive impact or a negative one? Because I
It
don't
would
know.
have a positive one for sure. Like, okay, so it wouldn't have like a major positive impact because
Right.
you know there's people who just want to be toxic regardless, but there's people who are like, I want to people to know me, people I want to be famous or whatever. How am I
Sure.
gonna end up like on a Reddit post, on a PC gamer article? I'm gonna do toxic crap in the game. Like they always write about that. Nobody writes about being nice.
Yeah.
So why would
Right.
people? I mean, okay, if you're being nice just to get props for it and you know get like a pat on the head, good job, good boy, you know, just for that and to be famous. I mean, yeah, okay, it's not maybe it's not actual kindness, but it's still better than doing the opposite for the same
Right.
effect, right?
And I mean, it can be, right? Especially if you consider how many of the people who engage in like really explicitly toxic behavior in these communities tend to be a little younger, or they tend to be
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah,
socially
like
under
easily impressionable
maladjusted.
kids. Yes.
Right. So if you show them that being beneficent, or at the very least not being antagonistic, gets rewarded materially, or can get rewarded, not that it does, that it can, maybe that would train them to be more naturally kind
Or
and
maybe they would
benevolent.
try it and then find out that
Yes.
they like it. Like, you know, Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, he did a video where he gave a homeless person $10,000,
Yeah.
and he, I mean, I think that he, in one of the videos, he said he started off with that, and like realized that he likes helping people, that he likes the feeling when he helps someone, and like when he gets them out of a bad situation, stuff like that. It's not that, like, he does this YouTube stuff, and people like give him flack for that, like, because oh, if you're doing kind things, why are you putting it on YouTube? You don't have to, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're trying to be kind. But the thing is, he gets uh so much money from sponsors that lets him do stuff like that. If he didn't
Hmm.
have that YouTube channel, he couldn't do any of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely, I'm definitely thinking, yeah, if they put less uh of a spotlight on the toxic ones and gave some of it to the nice people in, like, gaming communities, it would definitely help.
Absolutely. I, I hope we see some more of that in the future, and I think we
Hopefully, yeah.
will. I think people around the world presently are just kind of getting tired of being angry all the time, um, and that's going to adjust people's media consumption habits. But that's a topic for another time. Back to favorites. Are there any developers like AAA or indie or pieces of hardware you'd like to highlight or give like an endorsement to?
um None of them paid me, so no. uh, 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 if anyone wants to sponsor us, our email is somewhere in the description or on our channel. Just send us an email. No, just kidding. Not really. I don't know. Like, I definitely do tend to, like, in the recent times, enjoy much, like, games from smaller studios.
Mm-hmm.
Because the big ones just seem to go, like, either somebody small makes, like, an interesting game, and then they rip off, like, that same concept of the game and just make it bigger and add microtransactions.
Water it down in many cases.
Yeah, just make it plain, and so it's more easily consumable by the masses. So I'm really, like, enjoying. Oh god, what was the studio for that Lost in Random game?
Oh,
Zoink or something like that.
I'm on it. Hold on.
I have to say, I really enjoyed that game. Like, the humor was on point, not, like, too much of it, not, like,
Yeah,
no
Zoink.
humor at all, even though it was kind of a darkish game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really innovative with the combat mechanics. Like, you don't really get that in many games. And I gotta say, like, if you have a chance to play the game, buy it. You definitely do. Recommend it.
Absolutely.
Gets the potato seal of approval.
Right on. What about? I know you obviously enjoy FromSoft's work, but also maybe Double Fine.
Oh yeah, yeah, Psychonauts for sure. One of the best games ever. Truly.
Psychonauts 2 was our game of the year last year, right?
Yeah, definitely. Play the one and then play the second one. Even though you don't really need the first one, but you need it.
You do. I
Yeah.
don't think you would enjoy the first game as much if you had seen a lot of the technological and quality of life improvements made in the second, beforehand.
But, like, to circle back to one of our, like, earlier topics, like, even that game, which you would think, it's about, like, mental health and stuff like that in the
Mhm.
game, right? You'd think the community there who enjoys it would be, nicer. But do you
Oh God,
remember
no.
the shitstorm when they announced that you'd have, like, an god mode where you can't die in the game?
Yep.
Like, who cares? It's a single player game with no leaderboards and no competitive aspect of it. Why would you care if somebody just wants to go through story mode?
Doesn't it? Does it almost seem like this same super vocal segment of the populace, these like difficulty warriors, as I'll call them, seem to just creep out of the woodwork, and it's like the same group of people anytime this happens for a video game, even video games they don't play or plan to.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Like, most of those people complaining, I bet they didn't even play the first one.
Right.
They
The
just
first
saw an
game is not
article that
hard.
says the game will have God mode. And they were like, oh God, this is unacceptable. We have to do something about this.
Load up the Mountain Dew and fire up the Vespas.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, just ma'am, bring me the Mountain Dew.
Anyhow, being kinder and more compassionate to others is definitely something that the gaming space should do. Okay. Astute observation though, really. Every fan base, every community is going to have problems with, aberrant or unacceptable behavior. And I think
Except
a lot
ours, so join our Discord.
Yes. We're fine. Totally fine.
We're tolerable.
So I wanted to ask then, because I have a couple more items here. Go ahead and present us with your ideal formula for a game. Like, I asked this question of Tina because I think it's a really interesting open-ended one. Explain to us, because you obviously consumed video games like us your whole life. What's your personal design philosophy? What should a game be? What would the ideal game look like, sound like, feel like?
Oh God, honestly, I don't know. Like, I get frustrated a lot playing Souls games, but then the payoff when you actually complete the boss fight, complete the game, is nice. You
Right.
get, the brain releases the good chemicals. Uh, so I mean, something like that. I don't want a game that's like too easy. Again, that's my personal preference.
Sure.
Like, I if I wanted something that's just story mode, I'd rather just watch a video.
Sure.
Uh, but I don't know. It's just something that it's not like a cookie cutter game, where there's like, oh, this is the formula this year. This is the games that earn money. So let's just make it, you know. Because you look at like the games that get released every year, and there's like somebody comes up with a good idea, and everybody else just makes their own variation of it. I just want something like that's, you know, have aspects of the game that are like, universal to certain games, to the genre,
Mm-hmm.
and then find something. Just it has to just be one game mechanic is enough. That's completely unique to the game, and
Experiment a little.
yeah, and that's enough to make a game interesting.
Sure.
And just sprinkle a bit of a good story to that, and you got yourself a really nice game. But
Right
again,
on.
like I said in one of our previous podcasts, uh, I can tolerate uh, not such a good story if the game mechanics are. I mean, can I? Maybe I'm
Um,
lying now. I'd rather have a good story and I'll tolerate a bit of a bad mechanic
I
than
think
just a
we
terrible
can,
story with really good mechanics.
because
Like,
we've mentioned before, like the Dark Souls games, much as we all love them, have beautiful, brilliant, and often compelling worlds, like world building. But the actual stories, the narratives, are kind of mediocre by design.
but in my head, the story is I'm a genocidal monster that needs to kill everything in its path.
Quack quack. Tap tap.
Fucking tap tap.
But I get you. I get you. So a lot of the same things that Tina touched on, but more centered around maybe iteration and experimentation with an eye towards like how a game kind of feels in a player's hands. Like, what does that final experience feel like? How engaged are you?
Yeah.
How kind of what's the engagement versus frustration ratio going to look like? That's something you would want to pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah, definitely. If there's more frustration, then it's just I
Rebalance.
get that there's people who might enjoy that. Like when the game completely antagonizes you, but that's not a majority of players. That's even a
No,
small minority.
it's a
Uh,
very vocal minority, but it is a
so
minority.
vocal. But the
Um,
thing is, I feel like a lot of those vocal ones haven't even finished most of those games they praise for being so hard.
Right. Or if they have, and you read like comments from them explaining, it's one of my favorite types of Steam or Reddit comment. Oh, well, it's really not that difficult. You just need to get good and 28-step strategy to defeat a single random mid game encounter. Um, like, they either aren't playing it or it's like a full-time job for them because they're constantly reloading and respecking and trying to just muddle through.
Yeah,
They're telling themselves, no, this is fine. This is the way games should be.
yeah. And again, an occasional one like that might be fine, but
Yeah.
just advocating for all of them to be like that, no, please, no, sir.
Or having difficulty sliders that allow you to create that experience, but not having that be the intended experience.
Yeah.
Um, take note, Pathfinder Kingmaker and your dragon ass owlbears. Um,
Whew.
so my next question then pertains to a little bit of prognostication. Um, Mate, I know you've really, really been following and invested in the ongoing reckoning that has struck Activision Blizzard and other major development publication houses, and rightly so. Prior to the worst of the um, allegations, very substantiated allegations against Blizzard being published, you actually did the research for an absolutely phenomenal history of the company and its various controversies and mixed performance following its Activision acquisition. That's an episode of the podcast that, like Tina's, I would suggest to everyone out there as essential listening. It's probably, from a journalistic standpoint, one of the strongest things we've done to date, quote unquote journalistic. Um, so, not just in regards to the ongoing fight for workers and developers' rights, though certainly with an eye to that, where do you see the industry development, maybe trends in genres or aesthetics or things like that, or common practices going in the near future? What do you predict on the horizon?
I don't know. I hope like the the whole like the companies start like treating their employees better,
Hmm.
because even those that go like oh, we give our employees fat bonuses, it's still like you give them the money, but you still like completely drain them by making them do like 100 hours a week during
Yeah.
crunch time. you know Maybe your employees would be a bit happier if you'd rather just hire more like explicitly temporary developers to work on the game.
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know Maybe they'd earn less money, but they, unless they really want to, like there's a difference between going like, would you like to work extra 20 hours a week and earn X money extra? And they're like, well, I just need the money right now, so I'll do it. Instead of like, I mean, it's not mandatory, but people who say they don't want to do it just get fired. you know
Right.
uh, if they get treated nicer, they'll make better games. Like a happy employee is a good employee.
Yes.
And like I think at this point Blizzard Activision is at like the best example of it. Like you can literally see through the years how their games have gone down the drain, how
Hmm.
like everything they care about is money. Like all the good stuff, like the good cosmetic items, the good mounts, everything goes to the real money store.
Yep.
And you can just see that nobody really has like any passion about making. They just make stuff to keep making it because they need to make more content.
Because in a lot of AAA development houses anymore, I feel like so much more of the design is dictated from without. It's not decided by the development team, it's not decided by their immediate handlers in production. It's designed by mandate from the top, usually by people with purely financial interest in the company who don't know how to make games.
Yes, but
Saying,
still, when you
you
like,
have to have this kind of monetization. You have to have this kind of exploitation scheme. Go make it for us.
still, but like a good boss, a good project manager, they will fight for their employees. They will fight
Yes.
for their ideas. They're not just gonna go, sir, yes, sir, let's do it like that. You're right. Charge more money for it. Put that on the store. No, like you go like this is not the good way to do it. People are not gonna like this.
Like, we're not going to put our names on this.
Yeah,
We're not going to do this
because
to people.
because like just look at World of Warcraft at its like peak, at its golden age, 12 and something million subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not that too gutted from like the numbers nowadays, where they maybe have. I honestly don't even know if they have four. I doubt that they have four. They might not even have three at this point. Million, right? Because
Right.
they earn so much more money from the side stuff they're peddling, the market mounts and stuff like that. So they're kind of compensating like that. But
Yeah,
honestly,
trying
it's
to.
much more healthier for the game if you're earning your money from subscription. If you're charging a
Yes.
subscription, you should not have a real money store. Plus, you're also charging for the expansions. Like you're triple dipping into people's wallets, which is a dick move.
Absolutely.
And
And
again, I'd be fine with it if they weren't just putting the only good stuff for the money auction, for the money market.
so problems like that, like rampant monetization and especially the mistreatment of developers, do you predict that they'll actually be solved, or at least that the damages they cause will be greatly lessened in future? What do you think?
Well, I mean, at a certain point, they're gonna have to, because just look at like the fast foods like industry in America, where they were like, well, if you don't like a $7 an hour job, just quit and find yourself a better one. And then when people start doing it, they're like, oh no, nobody wants to work. No, nobody wants to work for you.
Right.
I mean, that's going to end up happening to game developers. They're going to go, you know what? I hate this. I'd rather go make stupid applications.
Yeah.
Something maybe that I'm not really good at, but I can change my career and earn much more money for it. Actually make a living.
And maybe we'll see more devs from big AAA teams break away to start indie studios where they can dictate the resources and workflow more directly.
Absolutely. I mean, I honestly believe that the Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard
Hmm.
is gonna like clean it up, because
Yes.
they like to run a clean ship. Even though there's potential really bad stuff that could happen in the future, for the short term at least, it's a good thing. Uh,
Microsoft are very professional, and really it's just a matter of personal preference, I think, for me and probably for you as well. I don't think their home consoles are the best, but
no.
they are relatively honest traders, like as far as the video game market goes.
Yeah, it's just not a good thing that one company owns most of the studios, because
Yes.
there was an article where like what could possibly happen, especially with Microsoft. Like they're the biggest ones, and they have side businesses that earn them a lot of money. That's not like gaming. They don't mind losing on money on like the gaming aspect of uh, their like company, because if they can push out other publishers, and they kind of can with the Game Pass, which is like $10 a month, and you get a whole lot of games which you can play. Whereas
Hmm.
other publishers are like, well, you want to play this one game, you gotta pay $60. You want to play this game, you gotta pay $60 or $70 if you're on the PlayStation, and it just piles up. And if they push them out of business with their cheap Game Pass, once they have no competition anymore, then they dictate the prices. Then they can jack them up as high as they want.
True.
And you have no choice. If you want to play games, you got to pay. So, I mean, long term might not be a good thing, but I guess it's too early to say.
Gotcha. And what do you see as far as trends, like just internal trends regarding development? Like, do you think there's any genres that are currently making a big resurgence, or any that are really popular right now that you would anticipate are kind of going to decline in visibility in the future? And I have to ask, because it's a shared passion of ours, what do you predict the future as future vitality of the Souls like market
Oh,
with?
I think there's going to be like play. I mean, it just depends. Like, if you go by like who makes the best Souls likes, it's of course gonna be FromSoft. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of like cool indie studios that make really nice Souls likes.
Absolutely.
However, I think we already discussed that. I would like to see Souls games in a lot of different settings,
Yes.
like Wild West Souls, like Cyberpunk Souls, like just any kind of sci-fi. I really
Yeah.
enjoy sci-fi myself, uh, so I would like something like that. There's a
In which
lot
case,
of
Hellpoint and The Surge are your best bets, and they're both pretty good for what they
yeah,
are.
yeah, but could be a lot of good stuff they can make if they just I guess you could say if they go a bit out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we all know space sims are gonna skyrocket once Star Citizen releases one
And
day.
our great 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 grandchildren will be only mildly disappointed. It'll be a miracle.
No, they're just gonna
Um,
be happy. Oh, my great great grandfather bought this game so many years ago on Kickstarter, and now I can finally play it.
the pledge for this spaceship has been passed down in my family for generations.
Yeah, imagine going like on Pawn Stars, like people going, "I'd like to sell this Star Citizen spaceship from the 2000s. It's 150 years old. My great grandfather owned it. He bought it. He's the first owner. You can no longer find any like it.
Well,
Um,
okay. Let me just confirm its authenticity with this
oh,
expert I've conveniently pulled out of a closet right over here.
I got a body over here, and the body's like, oh yeah, no, this is the genuine thing. You can see on this NFT that this is the real one, for sure. And then Rick's like great grandson is like, best I can do is 2 bitcoins.
Oh, oh, we're envisioning our own
Oh no,
cyberpunk
fuck, no, I
dystopia.
fucked up. Best I can do is 2 Dogecoins.
Oh my god. Um, but in all seriousness, I think you've definitely appreciated the fact that the initial conversation and excitement surrounding Star Citizen did honestly lead to a mild revitalization of space sims.
Did
Um,
they? I mean, what released? When did Elite Dangerous release? But like Elite Dangerous was not a new game. Like the Elite series uh,
right.
was out before.
But I want to say Dangerous launched and enjoyed the overwhelming majority of its success in the aftermath of the initial like Star Citizen disappointment, I think.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I
Um,
guess. Yeah.
there have also been games like the new Star Control Origins, which is divisive, but people tend to receive pretty favorably. That kind of launched in the wake of Star Citizen doing what Star Citizen did. So maybe it was bad for Robert Space Industries and good for everyone else.
Uh, you can't really say stuff was bad for them because they raked in so much money and they don't really care.
And they still are raking it in, by the way.
Yeah.
We might have to do a follow up, or like at the start of every episode from here on out, like just quickly announce how much money they've taken in to date.
Yeah. That's just like
Um,
start of every podcast. This just in. Star Citizen, still no sign of release date. Even though the game was supposed to release 10 years ago.
good gracious. Um, let me see, Mate. Is there anything else I want to touch on? Yes, actually. Um, for our viewers or our listeners, sorry, who are not our viewers, anyone who does not regularly catch Overanalyst streams on Twitch or like YouTube VODs after the fact, I need to provide a little bit of context. Because earlier, Mate, you mentioned like just getting into Souls likes, albeit kind of reluctantly. I want us to touch base on this a little bit before I hand the microphone over to Tina, and then maybe we close this out. But for context for the audience, I have never seen someone come to grips with a totally new genre as quickly as Mate has with Souls likes. It was astounding. We were expecting, based on like his early streams, okay, Dark Souls 1, Souls 2, this will go pretty smoothly. No, he demolished every single Souls like I've seen him play, with
Except
maybe the
Sekiro.
exception of Sekiro, but only certain spots in Sekiro.
Sekiro broke me.
you have this amazing ability to like really quickly intuit your way through situations that are presented to you like kind of at no advance notice and make great use of consumables and all of that. Like again, I cannot encourage you guys to go check out Comrade Potatoes Souls Like VODs wherever you can, if you can, because you're going to see some very high level blind play, which is quite rare to find in the Souls Like
Half
community.
blind, I do have you
Um,
as like a guide for the most of it,
Most of the time, I'm just telling you like lore bits though, because I couldn't figure out how to
and
kill the
sending
thing
me
the
the
first
wrong
time.
way accidentally.
But I was going to say there's this interesting phenomenon where per playthrough you tend to run up against one wall and it's like a brick wall, but then as soon as you get through that, it's just like easy street. Love that.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was
like
going
the
to
Demon
ask,
Souls thing, like the man eaters, right? That's the thing that
armor spider at like with no healing items,
that's true. Yeah, the armor
and
spider was a
then
bit.
the man eaters.
Yeah,
But
but
the
the
man
armor
eaters were
spider was more just like me. First of all, not quite just getting the rhythm of the fight and
yeah,
having no healing items.
yeah,
And the
like
man
it was
eaters
a
were just they're not a hard boss because they're hard. They're a hard boss
no.
because the AI is crap.
I want to say without the AI issues, they're about as challenging as the first game's gargoyles, which are that's fine.
Yeah, but like if anyone's stuck on the freaking man eaters, just firestorm the shit out of them. Easy
Any
peasy.
fire spell or
Yeah,
attack.
but firestorm, like if you're into magic, for character spec for magic, two shots them, two
Mhm.
shots them. I
Um,
don't.
but I was gonna ask, like, to get at the heart of your Souls like experience, did you have a lot of prior experience playing similar games, like a lot of kind of engaging, mechanically deep action RPGs?
I mean, not. I wouldn't say so.
Okay,
Not
okay,
really. Nothing like that. I mean, I didn't really for a long time. I didn't really enjoy stuff that was like that challenging.
gotcha.
You know, I was more like MMO wise, where you're like, oh, you know, this boss does this thing at this amount of energy and stuff like that. Uh,
Mechanic based learning, like
yeah,
just
yeah, you know,
learn the rhythm and do the dance.
yeah. And I did a lot of like raid leading, so I was like, you know, I have my monkeys that I have to keep in check the whole time, uh, which was, you know, as much as I kind of hated it because you know, I'm not a very like authoritative person.
Sure.
It is quite enjoyable, you know, when you can go like, we killed this boss and I did a lot of work to do it. Like not in you know sense of my character did the most damage, but like I coordinated a group of people that could barely do anything, and we killed the boss.
Right, you were acting as like the field commander.
Yeah, and like genuinely, like not no bragging or anything about it. Like you know, if somebody doesn't do it, you're not gonna succeed.
Right, right. No, that's very true, especially when you have like as you said full on raids. Like
Yeah.
it's so many people you have to coordinate.
And I still feel like that's still you know way out of my comfort zone because like I said I'm kind of socially anxious and not really you know I'm an introvert, so
You
like
know?
imagine you're like that and then somebody goes like here's a group of 10 people, you're in charge of them, and like "Ooh, what?"
Also, at least 3 of them are on crack. One of them's just asleep on the keyboard, and I'm pretty sure like another 2 are having really laggy connections, and so they'll hear you 12 seconds after the fact.
Yeah, one is from the UK, he's native there but you still can't understand him even though he's kind of speaking English, uh because he's from like the part of the UK where they just nobody understands them.
Um, so I was going to ask then, is there anything you'd like to share or any information you could give us about your Souls like, Odyssey? Because you went through all of these on stream near the start of your streaming career. And what kind of really got you interested in making the dive into the series, playing through it for an audience the first time
Well, I
through,
mean,
and then like what's that experience been like for you?
I was kind of you know, Seth was kind of pushing me to start streaming.
Hmm.
Like, oh, you should play something on stream. I was like, okay, what can I play? And I'm like, you know, uh, I don't think anyone would want to watch me play World of Warcraft. Like I wouldn't want to watch myself play World of Warcraft. Like most of the streamers that I watched play like MMOs like that, I watched them because they were like uh really good like in the competitive aspects of the game, like the PvP arenas and stuff like that.
Right.
I I I like was at that point not really good at any of that because I wasn't really playing actively. So I was like, what's something that will be fun for people to watch? Like if I'm gonna stream, if people are gonna watch me, make it interesting for them. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hate myself for it, but I'm gonna do Bloodborne because I heard like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Bloodborne Souls like it's hard. People are quitting before they finish the game. I'm like, okay, let's see how far we can go.
All right.
And yeah, that's about it.
And you really enjoyed it, like from the outset, right? There was not much of an early kind of anxious, trepidatious place you found yourself in.
Honestly, the Gascoigne, like the very second boss of the game,
In
is a bit of a
Bloodborne,
wall. Yeah, but then after I got him down,
as
it
per
was
usual.
it was pretty fun. Like
Hmm.
the next wall I hit was in the DLC on the Orphan of Cos.
Which is normal. That happens to everyone.
Yeah, and even that wasn't too big of a like issue because
And
it was a pretty decent fight. Like it was hard, but it wasn't like to the point where you feel like someone's just bullying you and it's unfair.
right. Um, and your Souls-like Odyssey also paved the way for us to do some co-op
Yeah,
public
yeah.
playthroughs, which were, I think, novel for both of us, right?
Oh yeah, honestly, like those chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, I I I don't think I would have enjoyed them as much if I was
Oh
playing them
no.
solo, but they are definitely something that's more fun in a co-op environment.
And frankly, co-op, I found them to be maybe the most. Obviously, I'm a lore hound, and so I loved learning and encountering stuff the first time more than anything else. But like, just as a gameplay experience, something I enjoyed the feeling of, the Chalice dungeons cooperatively were the most fun I had in the entire game.
Yeah, they were super fun. Like I really enjoyed the game. It's my still like my favorite Soulsborne.
And Bloodborne is now probably one of your favorite games of all time, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I have to say, not more favorite than Psychonauts.
I get that. I get that.
It still like I really enjoyed that game. Like the first time I got the first one, boy, did I play the crap out of it.
Same here.
And then the second one, I gotta say, the second one was even better than the first, which is
It
kind of
was.
rare when you look at it. Like with games, generally the sequel is at best as good, and that's also rare.
Mm. Um, to conclude my questioning, I'd like to ask, since you mentioned, you started streaming relatively recently, what's your experience with that and engaging with a broader community through a platform like Twitch and by association Discord been like?
Well, I mean, I did stream a little bit, like mostly just for friends in like 2012 or something. And that
Okay.
was just like, us playing some community games and then just, streaming it for, you know, sh- shits and giggles, basically. But yeah, like more seriously, just recently when like Seth essentially forced me to. I don't know, like I enjoy it. Like again, it's not something I would want to do full time because then it would
Right.
make it a job and then I would probably not find it enjoyable. Like people give streamers like, oh, they're just playing video games for money, like they're just fucking around and earning tons of cash. No,
Not even close.
like those ones that are like full time, they have to pretty much produce their own content. They have to think of what they're gonna play. Also, you need to have like an interesting personality. Like nobody's gonna watch someone who's I mean, there's a couple of like those esports players who are just really good, and people watch them because of that.
Right.
But most of the popular streamers, people watch because they like their commentary, they like who they
They
are, they
like
like their
their person.
reactions. Yes, their personality. Like would you watch? I don't know. Who's the top? Like, would you watch? Who's the fucking best streamer right now? Ludwig or whoever? Like, if he
No.
was just playing. I mean, yeah, I don't watch him either. But I'm just going like, you know what I mean. Like, you don't want to watch someone just play games.
Right.
And again, people go like, "Oh, you're just watching people play games. Why don't you play them yourself?" You watch people play soccer. Why don't you play yourself?
It's for the experience of maybe going through or witnessing something like a new game or a certain experience in a game with someone whose input you want or you value.
Yeah, or maybe you're just like, it's maybe not a game you'd like to play, but you'd like to see it played. You like to see what's going
Yeah.
on in there, and plus have someone with a funny reaction or an interesting commentary.
I mean, there's streamers who have built entire fan bases around people who enjoy seeing them get really frustrated and angry. Um, See the Dark Side Phil phenomenon.
Just
Um,
1 second, I gotta close my window because somebody is throwing fireworks outside.
no worries. Is that a holiday?
Not even close.
Okay. Um, Hold on. Let me check. Maybe it's like post happy hour, and that's the reason for the celebration.
Nah, there's just some people who like to when things explode, I guess.
Um, Excellent. So I'm glad to hear your streaming experience has been so positive, and that you understand kind of the community based aspect of it so well. You know, that's something I think a lot of people, even a lot of streamers, don't really appreciate, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there are certain streamers that don't have to do anything; they just have to, uh, be on the camera and people give them money. But that's not a story for today. Uh, but no, like I was really lucky though because I had like yours and Steph's community, which were really great
mhm.
before we all merged everything together. Uh, and everybody was supportive, and that
Yeah,
certainly helps. Like,
sure.
if you start streaming and you just get like trolls for like 80% of the people who come and watch you, you're probably not going to continue streaming.
No, it would require an incredible amount of resilience to
Yeah,
do so.
unless you just enjoy being trolled. There's all kinds of weirdos in the world. But yeah, for the most part, you probably wouldn't.
No, real life is not like that Darman video where a kid just starts streaming and then becomes an international superstar like the following week.
Yeah. And then
Right?
everybody
Actually, I
who
could have
trolled
stopped
them wants
after
to be their
real life
friend.
is not like a Darman video.
Yeah.
I do wish there was somebody following me around, like narrating my life in that terrible monotone, though.
Oh yeah. Just have Morgan Freeman narrate your life. That'd be nice.
I would love Morgan Freeman, but I feel like I deserve Darman.
Pretty much, yeah.
And on
All of
that
us.
note, I'm going to relinquish the floor to Tina. If you have any questions for Mate, because
No, you pretty much
I think
covered
now that
everything.
I've hit Darman, I think I've exhausted my well.
Yeah, we need to end every podcast episode either with Darman or with Nikocado Avocado. So this time is Darman.
Why does it have to be or?
Oh,
So you see, the most important thing is that Jared learned the value of cheese. And he never let his house go without it again.
okay. And on that note,
On that note, thank you. Seriously, Tina, you have nothing?
no, I have nothing.
Okay. Mate, first of all, thank you so much for your time and for your input today. I feel like, again, just as Tina did, you gave us some wonderful information, not just about yourself, but like also your perspectives on our common interests, our industry of interest, and really some unique insight into maybe how people can grow with gaming and it can grow with them. that's again a theme I really appreciated from your story. Is there anything you'd like to share with us as some final words today?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Mate. And thank you out there for listening to this second episode of Oversharing here on the Overanalysts podcast. It's been our pleasure to present this to you, and we certainly hope that you find it to your liking. Again,
I just want to say, don't forget to over smash that sub button.
indeed, like, subscribe, hit that bell. Follow us on like Patreon, Go Fund Starter, and give us all of the things. Yes, and maybe someday you'll get a spaceship. Um, it is an absolute pleasure to produce these episodes for you, but it is also a new format. So we are, of course, as ever, very receptive to any feedback that you wish to offer us. If you're catching this on YouTube, please feel free to leave any comments, questions, or suggestions for future topics or ways we can improve the show in the comment section down below, or feel free to send that feedback in an email to the Overanalysts podcast at gmail.com.
But please be nice about it.
Yes.
We're fragile.
Also, if you would care to engage with any of us or our community more directly at any time, since we have folks from all around the world, please feel free to drop down into our Discord server, a link to which can be found in the description of this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to see you either next week or on one of our streams or community events sometime soon. Thank you so much. This is Brady, the Overanalyst, joined as always by my good friends Martina, or Seth the Overwitch,
Good night, all.
and Mate, or Comrade Potato.
Good night.
Wishing you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.